Hello everybody, this is Gareth Goon Speaks back here with another video. I'd like you to hit the subscribe bar, give me a thumbs up if you like the content, or hit the notification bell to be notified when I post my next post. Or otherwise you can look me up at my website, which is www.garethcahoon.co.uk. Or if you'd like to support the ministry that I do on Facebook and TikTok on my website, you can do so through PayPal, garethcahoon3@gmail.com. This one is about Israel and will Israeli voters in 2026 punish Netanyahu for October 7th or reward him for victories over Hamas, Hezbollah and Iran? Former Mossad chief Yossi Cohen talks to All Israel News, assesses Bibi's political prospects. Cohen calls October 7th inexcusable and unforgivable, but is he now softening his criticism of Netanyahu? Jerusalem, Israel. Yossi Cohen was once one of Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu's closest advisors and confidants. Is he now a political rival to Netanyahu? Recently I sat down for 75 minutes interview with the former Mossad chief, a real-life Jewish James Bond. We discussed a wide range of matters from Cohen's years as Israel's top spy, to his views on the future of Iran, the prospects for normalization with Saudi Arabia, and his thoughts on the future of Gaza. We also discussed the explosion of anti-Semitism around the world and how he believes we should strengthen and deepen the strategic alliance between Israel, the Jewish people, and evangelical Christians. But I also asked Cohen to assess Netanyahu's political prospects as Israelis head towards the next round of national elections in 2026. So far, we have heard portions of our conversation on 2 episodes of the Rosenberg Report. TBN is the most watched Christian television network in the United States, and you can watch them there. Cohen and Netanyahu once the closest allies. In a moment, I'll get to Cohen's views of Netanyahu's leadership and whether he believes Bibi should be and will be re-elected. But first, it's worth understanding just how closely these two have worked together over the years. In 2011, Netanyahu appointed Cohen to serve as deputy director of the Mossad, Israel's legendary spy agency. In 2013, Bibi appointed him to be Israel's 9th national security advisor. Then in July 2015, Bibi appointed Cohen to serve as the head of the Mossad. Cohen and Netanyahu, a highly successful track record working together. Together, the two men had one of the most impactful and effective relationships of any Prime Minister and Mossad director in Israeli history. Together in 2018, as All Israel News has reported in detail, they worked together to steal Iran's top secret nuclear weapons blueprints and archives, Iran's nuclear crown jewels from a highly classified and secure warehouse deep inside Tehran, the Iranian capital. After smuggling the archive back to Israel, translating it, they released the most damning documents, the smoking guns, and they shared them with the Western world leaders, including US President Donald J. Trump and Mike Pompeo, then serving as the director of the Central Intelligence Agency. These stunning revelations providing that Iran's leadership has lied about never having plans to build nuclear weapons, convinced Trump to rip up the tragically flawed 2015 nuclear deal that the President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden and their team had negotiated with Tehran, a deal known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or the JCPOA. Netanyahu and Cohen's future persuaded Trump to impose the famous maximum pressure campaign of crushing economic sanctions on the Iranian regime. But that's not all. Together, Netanyahu and Cohen, according to foreign sources, successfully assassinated Iran's top nuclear scientist, Mohammad Farakasta, in November 2020, deep inside Iran. And together they gathered the intelligence and laid the groundwork that led to the stunningly successful Israel and American military attacks last June that utterly destroyed Iran's nuclear weapons program and severely damaged Iran's ballistic missile program. The two men were so close that there was a time several years ago when Netanyahu openly speculated about handing the keys to the kingdom, as it were, to either Cohen or former Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer, so that one of them could lead the Likud party and succeed him as Prime Minister. After retiring from the Mossad, Cohen has had a very pointed criticisms of Netanyahu, yet times have changed. Upon retiring from the Mossad, Cohen has had some very pointed criticisms of his long-term time boss and mentor. Cohen writes in his spellbinding and must-read new book, The Sword of Freedom, that it is inexcusable and unforgettable what Israel's leadership allowed to happen on October 7, 2023, when Hamas invaded southern Israel and slaughtered 1,200 Israelis in the worst massacre of Jews on a single day since the Holocaust. On page 3, Cohen wrote, "I cannot forgive the attitudes and approaches which led to such a disaster. There was complacency where there should have been coordinated contingency planning, cohesiveness where there should have been weariness, indecisiveness where there should have been urgency. Basic protection principles and practices were either forgotten or ignored by those who should have known better." On page 4, Cohen wrote, "The poverty of intelligence was the principal reason that on being nominated as Mossad director in 2016, I asked Prime Minister Netanyahu to be given responsibility for intelligence operations in Gaza rather than leaving that responsibility with the army and Shishak Shin Bet, Israel's internal security service." But Cohen says his request was denied. On page 6, he wrote, "Ignorance and inaction in terms of confronting Hamas plans, the preparations were inexcusable." On page 21, Cohen wrote, "It does not help the Prime Minister Netanyahu and his ministers are poor at communication. Bibi has never built an empathetic relationship with the Israeli people. He answers questions at set time, peace press conferences, and leaves without giving the impression that he's speaking to his fellow citizens. What's more, Cohen continues in his book, that Netanyahu has rarely met expectations by sitting down with grieving relatives in the way that I have. Cohen, it is time for Netanyahu to step aside." In public remarks after his book was published, Cohen went further. "The defence establishment is responsible for its sector. You should have known how to thwart the attack, known how to defend the border when it collapsed," he said last fall. "I was stunned. I think this is something unforgivable." This is just some of the statements that Cohen has stated about Bibi Netanyahu, and I think some of them are fair and some of them aren't. The problem was that the ones in the border never sent the warnings up to the higher level in the government, and that's where the failure happened. But Netanyahu has got all the hostages back, living and dead, and he's making Israel strong again and united. So I wouldn't count them out. Not yet. Go Bibi. Shalom. Maranatha and hallelujah.